Hello, gorgeous. You're listening to the Girlfriend's Guide to Starting Over. On this podcast, we talk about everything from dating and relationships to personal development. We also speak very candidly about the F word, and by that, I mean failure. So grab a pen, tag a friend, and let's talk about it. All of it. Undergoing, overcoming, and simply trying to make it through. Hello, gorgeous. You're listening to the Girlfriend's Guide to Starting Over podcast, and I'm your host, Kayla. If you are just listening for the first time, hello. Welcome to my platform. I am so glad that you found me. And as always, if you are a returning listener, hey, sis, what's up? Welcome back. In today's episode, we are going to dive into 3 things that I have learned about boundaries that have been monumental in helping me to navigate my relationships, platonic, romantic, even my work relationships over the last couple of years. I am admittedly a recovering people pleaser and recovering perfectionist. And part of my healing journey, honestly, the largest part of my healing journey came with learning to set boundaries with the people that I love and interact with. And so this episode isn't really about setting boundaries. I do have a set boundaries like a boss worksheet that gives you 10 tips for setting boundaries. If you're interested in that, I will link it in the show notes. That'll teach you how to set boundaries. But this episode is things that I've learned about boundaries and why they are important, okay? So let's dive right in. First things first, givers have to set boundaries because takers rarely will. That's just the facts. It is a hard lesson to learn, but if you do not set boundaries as a giver, people are going to use you up and spit you out, completely deplete you. There is this common misconception that everyone is raised with a moral code or has an internal compass, and that's just not reality. That's not real. And so keep in mind that there are tons of people walking around navigating the world who are still that kid who dumps the entire Halloween candy bucket into their bag, even though the note says just take one, because no one is looking. No one is regulating it. And so as an adult, it is your job to regulate your resources. It's your job to keep an eye on the bowl, to make sure that no one simply dumps you out and runs off and there's nothing left for you or anyone else. That's not fair to anyone involved. And so remind yourself of that regularly, that not everyone has a moral compass. And so you have to set a boundary because the taker rarely will. Number 2 is that the only people who are upset about you initiating your boundaries are people who are benefiting from you having none. Literally, no one else is mad. People who love you, people who care about you, people who want the best for you and are supportive of you, they're going to be like, yes, girl, it's about time you put your foot down. Now, don't get me wrong. Anytime that you have a radical behavior shift or you start doing things a little bit differently, people are going to kind of side eye you and look at you and be like, you switched up on me. And it's like, no, sis, I evolved. And the people who fall away, that is a part of the process. I say frequently that when you decide to evolve, when you decide to grow, when you decide that you are about to change your life, you are bound to lose friends. You are bound to lose connections. The people that disconnect from you or fall off as you start to grow were never meant to be with the evolved version of you. They were only congruent and linked to the unhealed version of you. Don't forget that, okay? So when they start to fall off, let them fall. The only people falling off are people who are benefiting from you being broken, okay? Lastly, silence is consent. Silence is consent. We teach people how they treat us. So if you never speak up, if you never set a standard, if you never say, hey, this is unacceptable to me, this is a deal breaker, this is where I draw the line, you can't simply expect people to know. And I know there's going to be people out there who counter and they're like, no, Kayla, if you're a decent human, then you would know. And it's like, wait a minute. We literally just said that not everyone is raised with a moral compass. Not everyone has that internal navigator that says, this is unacceptable, this is not fair. And so it's up to you to communicate what is okay with you. It's up to you to communicate what you will and will not accept. It's up to you to set some consequences that say, if this, then that. If you do this behavior, I will no longer interact with you. If you continue to disrespect me, I will have to cut you off. If we're going to talk about my weight, I will no longer come to Christmas dinner. Whatever it is that you need to say, that's up to you. So I hope that these 3 things about boundaries have helped to give you just a little bit of basis or a little bit of information about why boundaries are so important. And as I said before, if you're wanting to learn how to set better boundaries, I have linked in the show notes my guide to setting boundaries like a boss. And I wish you well on your journey to drawing the line and starting to live the life that you can't stop dreaming about. I love you, girl. We'll chat in the next one. Well, gorgeous girl, that's a wrap for this episode. I hope you found value, insight, or strength. I hope something was said that gave you the courage to push on a little while longer toward the life of your dreams. If you felt motivated during this segment, screenshot this and throw it in your stories and tag me on social. That way we can keep the message going. Have an excellent day on purpose, and we, girl, will talk in